Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen 2025. This year might be touted as the year of content and playability by CIG, but they're also working on some big features still. I want to highlight some of what CIG have said that they've been working on, what they've revealed over the last few months in regards to major features, major updates, what they've been talking about from monthly reports, inside Star Citizens, the roadmap. What big features are CIG working on now, basically? I do want to put a quick disclaimer / prefix in here for what we're going to talk about. CIG are working on a load of this stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be in our hands real soon or anything, but some of it will be. Some of it, that CIG are working on stuff now for monthly patches, so a lot of the stuff they talk about and are working on is going to be relevant for the next few patches. There are things that are obviously going to come in stages or be dripped into patches. We might only get to like the very early stage of something. And there's also stuff that they're working on that is part of a wider initiative that's going to be potentially multi-year initiative. Let's talk about something that is part of a multi-year initiative, but we'll be getting from patch to patch. Economy updates and StarSim. That is being worked on. Player-to-player trading is coming. I was talking to CIG devs about it at a recent Bar Citizen. Missions tied to the economy and its needs, they're going to be a thing. That's all part of StarSim. If you have a mission that goes unfulfilled, the mission sort of might resolve and cause some other knock-on effects, or the value of those missions will go up because they want players to do them, so they'll keep on raising the price dynamically. You'll have NPCs which gain infamy and become pirates that will have higher and higher bounties on. More short term, you're going to have CIG tweaking prices of rewards, the effort versus reward algorithms, commodities, making sure ammo is available in the appropriate locations. It'll also just be more stuff to buy and more items to find. They like to expand that loot pool and that sort of stuff as well. Kind of connected to this is ships are obtainable in a few ways in game, and CIG are trying to improve the way that happens. They recently talked about not only do they want you to buy ships for real money if you want to help fund the game, but they've also said ships turning up in the in-game shops are going to be happening more regularly. So they basically said they want to allow the base versions of newer ships to be able to be bought in-game without VBC in a more reasonable timetable than they had before. And that's going to be continuing from now on. So yeah, CIG basically saying we're going to be better at making sure ships and vehicles appear in shops more regularly and you'll be able to get your hands on them. They're also going to be expanding out Wickelow's ships and vehicles and the special ships that he provides, but they don't want much in the way of exclusive ships from Wickelow that you can only get from him, but they do want special variants of those vehicles to be obtainable effectively only from him, or eventually from other players once you have player-to-player trading in more readily. Wickelow as well is interesting because he gives you a little tiny taste, a little hint of what crafting will be like, because you're gathering a load of items for Wickelow's recipes, right? And talking about crafting, it is being worked on now. It's on the progress tracker. They recently said the team continue to reevaluate the scope of the first public release for crafting. So it's going to be not the full set of crafting or anything. We don't exactly know what is going to be there for the first public release, but it does mean that we're going to get something sooner rather than later for it. It's eventually going to lead to crafting components, crafting ships, research, blueprints, upgrading things. As I said, it's going to be coming in stages, but there's also FPS gear, bases, station building, all that sort of stuff as well. I think it's one of the more integral features for the economy and progression in game. I'm super excited for crafting in all its forms, and I'm interested to know what you think is going to be the scope of the first public release. I'm assuming it's going to be FPS gear and components. That would be my expectation from some form of fabricator that we can purchase and put in our habs or ships. Hacking in some form is being worked on as well, but there's no real details of when or what the current mechanics of that are. I'm expecting pipe puzzles. That's kind of what they had hinted at a few years ago with how they wanted to do it, but that might have changed significantly. That's how most games do it though, right? Little pipe puzzles, spin the pipes, do your hack. There's an elevator and transit refactor that CIG are currently working on as well. They are very aware that elevators, trams, core gameplay, general traversal, freight elevators, ladders, instance hangars, landing zones all need to be working consistently, otherwise the experience of the game is ruined. Recently in 4.2.1, that's what happened with freight elevators, breaking core gameplay loops and not allowing people to progress with events and that sort of stuff. Well, they could, but it would be very buggy. There's an ongoing inventory rework revealed in a Star Citizen Live a little while ago. CIG have this showing on the progress tracker now, and they've said the inventory UI concept shown recently on Star Citizen Live entered development with the team doing preparation work and setting up the new canvas, and obviously this also appeared on the roadmap progress tracker recently. The rework is pretty big, with a significantly better look, more functionality, load of filters, and being able to see and compare stats of items. Connected to your inventories, kind of at least, is item recovery tier 1. So we know CIG have been working on this for a while. We've got tier 0 in game at the moment, which basically goes, when you respawn, you keep all the equipped items that you had. Not the stuff that was in your backpack or in your pockets, but pretty much everything else that you had equipped. So your armor and the weapons in your hand or in your belt. You respawn with that. However, in tier 1, item recovery, you will no longer respawn with your preserved gear already equipped. You will need to visit locations such as your freight elevator to reclaim your registered gear. So you need to register your gear at an ASOP terminal or kiosk, and then bam, you go, yeah, I've registered my personal loadout or my ship loadout, whatever, and then you can retrieve that in the state that you registered it in for a price. If an item is looted, it remains usable until the original owner reclaims it or marks it as stolen. Then it becomes bricked, though not necessarily immediately. It might basically have a little ticking clock on it effectively. You can still sell the item even once it's bricked. Later, tier 2 item recovery will introduce a way to restore previously bricked items for a price. It's also worth mentioning that pledged items that you've bought with real money or that you've gotten effectively on the website, they can always be claimed back even if they were not manually registered. That's the current plans for that. And this is all connected to Death of a Spaceman that CIG are working on, with mortality being more and more important. Obviously, they've been talking about the regen crisis. Don't expect Death of a Spaceman stuff anytime soon, but the rest of it and some of the supporting items, yeah, very much so CIG are working on. Ship, FPS radar, and scanning updates. So, highlighting items and objectives with pings, AI reacting to scans, stealth armor and missions. If an enemy NPC has a radar, they can perceive you when you scan or ping. That's all currently being worked on the more sort of ship scanning shorter term front. I believe you'll be able to reveal ship names with pings in the near future. It didn't make the 4.3 patch, but that could come real soon. Talking about some NPC and AI updates, CIG have mentioned getting NPCs to operate ground vehicles, working on that. New creatures, boss fights. I think that there potentially could be quite a big boss fight as part of 3.4.1 in the Onyx facilities, fighting Dr. Jorut or one of his creations. There's AI behavior work, pathfinding, finding ammo for AI, wild lines for NPCs, load of stuff focusing on searching and combat. Also, NPC dropships. Now, NPC dropships, they are planned for 4.3.1, so there's going to be dropships that turn up at outposts and deploy reinforcements when the local population is attacked or wiped out or whatever. That's one of the ways they'll sort of repopulate areas, I suppose. Expanding out this tech to support more and more stuff, because obviously we do have a level of NPCs being able to turn up in-game already. Talking about some ship updates, actually, there's a general ship balance and archetype refactor going on. So they've recently done light, medium, and heavy fighters. That's been the sort of focus, but other ships have got like a more generic update, and they'll be looking at the different archetypes of ships in a lot more detail and sort of improving that. Also connected to that, I suppose, is the flight model, control services, atmospheric flight. That's all going to make you flying around in atmosphere a lot more enjoyable. They're getting rid of nav mode, they're putting quantum boost in, and a new quantum travel experience. That is also being worked on. Engineering's a big one as well. So this is a mixture of multi-crew damage control, physicalizing components, circuitry of ships, replacing components, repair, maintenance, putting out fires, a big rebalance to ships, weapons, ships components. Lots of updates since we've last saw engineering being tested as well. So like engineering version 2. CIG are going to be putting this to the tech preview real soon. They moved it onto a staging stream ready, and they've had sort of murmurs of Evocardi tests incoming with the tech preview, which assumedly will also include engineering at some point. Something that I know CIG are working on that's all connected to this, but I have no real clue when they're going to be done with it or even show more of it, is Maelstrom. This is the sort of breakability tech for ships and potentially buildings and bits on planets, so they could be rocks and stuff as well. But literally the destruction of things and the way that it pulls apart and breaks apart, Maelstrom's going to be tied into ships, vehicles, stations, bases, all that sort of jazz. Command modules. This is something a little bit more minor, but it's a big step towards a few different things. So they're going to be introducing the concept of vehicles taking over control from other host ships. This is primarily used for ships like the Caterpillar, but also the Ironclad. It suggests that they're working on more stuff for modularity. I'm hoping this means we're going to see some updates and modules for the Caterpillar in the not too distant future. There's a load of mission updates and refactors that CIG are working on as well. So we know they're refactoring older missions that didn't make the 4.0 mission refactor. So you'll see some of the older missions turn back up in new forms. There's also going to be new events, sandbox activities, story arcs, stuff like that they're working on. Obviously 4.3.1, that leads to the next story arc and opens up more of these interesting areas in the Onyx facilities, but you'll see loads more of that. And I believe that they're also working on some instanced content and the municipal works, the depths, and just a ton of stuff. They're also working on Reputation version 2, guilds, factions. Hopefully they'll be re-enabling things like medical beacons in the not too distant future after they've done some improvements to them, make sure they don't break the game. They disabled them for 4.3. There's just going to be a load of general quality of life updates as well to missions and stuff. That they were trying to get that mission on location pickup, or I think it's also called accept mission and world tech working, where you could read a journal and it would say, do you want to accept this mission? Talking about quality of life, actually, I absolutely love the fact they put the report crime on timeout option in 4.3. Just the ability to turn that on if you want to, and then not have to worry about reporting crimes if you get taken out, because like if you're respawning, it can sometimes take a while to respawn and it's already timed out by then. Anyway, I digress. Optimization. So another big focus of sort of feature sets. Vulcan is being worked on. R&D focused on optimization. I've seen the highest frame rates I've ever seen in 4.3 for Star Citizen, and also CIG are continuing to work on things like dynamic server meshing in the background, and they're able to get some of these sort of updates in game sooner rather than later, rather than just have a switch over to dynamic server meshing. But they're getting all their sort of different services in the correct states for dynamic server meshing and just improving them in general for server meshing. I think the latest we heard, according to my notes, is that they had separated the dedicated game server assignment from the territory manager. CIG's objective is to base territory runtime redistribution on several factors, including entity and player distribution and overall shard occupancy. Subsequent work will remove territories from the equation altogether, allowing compute resources to be deployed exactly where they're needed. And the idea eventually is that you can have any individual object container, be it a building, be it a ship, being a room on a ship, be it a planet, be it an area of space, become a server, have other servers nested within that, and all spin up and spin down based on the population of those areas. But I also believe that CIG are going to use instancing to some degree as well for certain locations that make sense to do that. And I'm very on board with that. They're trying to get the game as playable as possible. They're trying to make it work as an MMO. They're pushing towards 1.0. I'd love to know what you think in the comments below, though. Are you excited for all the stuff that CIG appear to be working on now? What do you think is coming in the next 3 months or so by the end of the year? Is there anything I've missed off this list of what CIG are working on that you're like, they're working on this and it's fantastic? I have neglected mentioning specific ships. They are working on quite a lot, be it the Kraken, be it the Apollo, and a load of others. I'll be doing a separate update for all the ships that CIG are working on, and include any more updates that we get from the Star Citizen Live that will probably be out by the time you see this video. If you want some calls to action, yeah, give me some comments down below about what you want to see in Star Citizen, what you're expecting. What's that? A sponsor! Just what you wanted! This time it's Corsair with their Scimitar Elite Wireless SE MMO gaming mouse. It's got 16 customizable buttons and it's really high precision. What more could you want? Well, I'll tell you. You want it to work with Virtual Stream Deck, VSD, enabling you to do a ton more in-game more conveniently. You can set yourself up a sidebar of buttons which can appear on your screen, and then at the top of a button, you could have those pop up. So you could have one set up for landing or mining or FPS functions in Star Citizen. The Scimitar and the Virtual Stream Deck together are a fantastic pairing, not just for Star Citizen though that can make use of all those buttons, but also for productivity tasks. It's like having a inner thought system that's customizable for Star Citizen, your desktop, and other programs and games. Links below to find out more details or to grab yourself one, and you'll get a 10% discount on gaming peripherals from Corsair. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and we're giving away an RSI Meteor, that new medium fighter with lifetime insurance and a gameplay package for Star Citizen. Everything you need to play with a cool fighter and pew-pew some fools. Just comment on any of our videos made during this month to be in for a chance of winning that. Something else that you might like to do is like, share, subscribe to our videos. There's a join button underneath as well. There's Patreon. You give us a little bit of money each month and it helps out the channel immensely. Occasionally we have some exclusive videos. Come to my Discord, discord.gg/BoredGamer. Also, you should comment on all the videos, not just because of the giveaway, but also because you can give me feedback. And I want to say a massive thank you to the people that have supported the channel via any medium. But genuinely, you guys that go the extra mile to use that join button or Patreon, it is genuinely so appreciated. Thank you so much.